Welcome everybody to Ep.4 of Elev8 Talks. Today's episode is about what I wish I knew when I was a teenager. And I have some very special people here with me today. So you guys can introduce yourselves one at a time, whatever order you want to go in. It might be different on your screen.
I am Beverly Butcher, better known as Grandma Butcher, mother of Pastor John and the other John, JR.
What about the Goku hair fellow on the bottom?
Oh, that is my grandson, other Judah Butcher.
Judah Butcher, tell us about yourself, man.
I'm 13 and I go to Fairfield Christian School.
Awesome. All right. Brother Al-Qaeda.
Yeah. Pastor John R. Butcher Sr., your daddy, Judah's daddy, and the son of Beverly Ann Butcher that's right here.
Awesome. So real quick, you guys, I just wanted to take a couple seconds to wash the tea or close the blinds in the background. And this will definitely make the final edit because it's awesome. Now she's not going to move and she's embarrassed, but it's all good. I just wanted to take a couple seconds to one kind of just to talk about the things we wish we knew when we were teenagers. So I kind of wanted to start off with Grandma. So Grandma, you weren't a teenager that long ago. What was it, like 5 years ago, something like that?
Right. 5 years.
So tell us, Grandma, what was like one of the biggest things you wish you knew when you were teenage Beverly Ann Butcher? Or excuse me, Beverly Ann Mills. Let me correct
myself. Thank you. Well, one thing I wish I had put more time in my studies for high school. It would have better prepared me for college. And I would not have just gave up after 2 years. Or given up after 2 years, excuse me.
Okay. Did you have any particular subject that you liked the most, or were you just like, I'm coming here to school to hang out and it's cool?
Oh no, there was no such thing as hanging out back then in my family. So band and art.
Okay.
That was about it.
I had no clue you did band.
Oh yes, first chair, cornet.
My bad. That's where we get all of our musical talent from in the family.
No, you get it from the Millses, from the Mills brothers, etc. We won't go into that though.
Cool. And Dad, Army Ohio graduate, Mr. High school super athlete. I think they finally took your name down off the wall in the gym. I was there not too long ago, but
it went down with the Indian. The Indian came down, and so did all the names.
So, I mean, what was one of the things that you wish you knew when you were a teenager?
Well, if you knew me at anything, there was nothing. I knew it all. So there's right now, I knew everything. You couldn't tell me anything when I was a teenager.
Right.
But looking back on it, I think I wish I would have known to maybe pay more attention to what was going on around me in life, because I was living life so fast that I didn't take time to take in what was going on around me. And I wish I would have known to stop and take in what was happening around me, because everything was just moving so fast when I was young.
Dang. Now, Judah, obviously you just became a teenager, like a year ago? Now, I'm going to flip the question on you. So say you had the opportunity to ask 27-year-old, 50-year-old Judah, what should I be looking out for? What do you think you would ask future Judah with a 13-year-old mind right now?
Probably otherwise, study more, pretty much, and be more athletic.
Okay. So, Dad, both or 2 out of the 3 of your sons, or 2 out of the 4 of your kids are here, and 2 of us have already been teenagers before. Let's be open and honest. What was it like to parent teenage John and Juwan Butcher?
Well, to be honest, just because of the dynamic with fathering you two is that I was, a father outside of your home. So trying to father you guys, being the only term I can think of is being an absent parent. I hate to use that term, but because of the situation, trying to father you during that time, it was difficult because one, I didn't really understand you guys. I think our relationship was kind of strained because of once again, the situation. But the difficulty is trying to be a parent, trying to be an instant parent, watching a child go up, and I'm seeing the difference, like raising Judah in heaven and being there all the time and being around them, you kind of understand what being a parent is. But when you don't have a child that you only see every other weekend or 2 days out of the week, it puts a strain on it. So it kind of makes things difficult. I believe the relationship was there, the love was there. But I think on my part, it's just hard to be a dad when you didn't know how to be a dad at that time. You thought you knew what dad was, but then when all of a sudden you have these little tiny grown-ups that are going through life themselves and struggles and hormones, and then now you're trying to be an authoritarian to them, and they're looking at you like, dude, wait, who are you? Wait a minute, hold on. You're my fun dad. We're just supposed to play video games. We're supposed to play video games and go to the movies and to the park in Disneyland. You're not supposed to correct me. You're not supposed to do it. And it was hard playing both those roles when you're not there all the time. So that was some of the difficulties in a nutshell that I had, being a father to you and your brother, especially in your teenage years, especially the like I said, you guys are starting to see girls now, and it's funny. Judah's gonna laugh, but the first day, and you'll remember that you got caught on the phone talking to some girl, and I short-circuited. And if it hadn't have been for Kaya, the situation probably would have got totally out of hand because I didn't know how to handle it. Yeah. I'd never been there, and nothing prepared me for it. Alls I know at that time too, and we have to add in the dynamic that when you guys were first born, I wasn't a Christian when I was bringing you up, and then all of a sudden I become a Christian, and then now I'm trying to raise you in the Christian aspect, and once again it's the same dynamic. But then you talking about you like some girl on the phone, and I short-circuited and blew up, and I think that that thing, the way I reacted, I reacted to that, put a huge wedge in our relationship of trust and you guys being able to talk to me about anything. So that's just something I just threw out there.
That's interesting. You kind of almost segue into one of my next questions, but I'm going to ask Grandma this way. Now, Grandma, 4 kids, about 2,000 grand and great-grandkids. You've seen teenagers multi-generational. You've seen teenagers that you've raised in the house. You've seen teenagers that you poured into that didn't live with you. You had that aspect too, kind of. What's it like to, let me ask it this way. So do you feel like raising teenagers when you raised like dad in them to raising teenagers to where you got great grandkids that are teenagers now, like, do you feel like there's any difference? Do you feel like it's the same? What do you think?
Well, yeah, definitely is different. Very different. Each one of them, of course, they're more outspoken than raising my first set of grandkids. I thought they were a little outspoken, and I kind of dampened it a little bit. Then the next set came along, and they were a little bit more. So I guess that would put me. Hold on.
It's all good.
I don't know. There's a big difference. That's all I have to say. the phone threw me off.
It's all right. Gail can answer the phone if she'll answer it.
If the 888 tele hotline at the butcher residence, like, call now, you get a prayer class. Like,
She's trying to find the phone. I don't know where it is. But okay, back to the question was what now? I'm sorry about raising the difference.
it's like raising teenagers to when you had to raise your kids to the generation now to where your great grandkids are becoming teenagers and they're teenagers. Do you feel like there's a similarity or differences, or because you had mentioned like we're a little bit more outspoken now in today's generation?
Yes, that's putting it mildly. But I guess with years going, parents understand them. They know it's a little bit different when you're around grandma, but they're all right.
Okay.
That's what you're getting out of that one.
No, I am for sure. Now, a lot of times, and I know Dad had kind of mentioned hormones and mentioned things like that. And I remember during our last Elev8 parent meeting that we kind of addressed the fact of there being a break in communication, in the sense of when you're a parent, you first start parenting teenagers. It's like, I've never been here before. I've never been the parent of a teenager. At the same time, you have teenagers that have never felt these hormones before, have never felt this kind of way before. Having been a teenager before, I can kind of remember back to being Judah's age. And as a matter of fact, since you brought it up, the situation, I was in 6th grade, like preteen, 12, almost 13. No, wait, probably like 12. And so I remember I'm on the phone with the girl. We're just talking, not talking about nothing nasty, not talking about nothing crazy. But the fact that I'm thinking this is regular and my dad should understand, and he came in and was like, exploded. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to explain. Like, I remember, I think I ended up throwing the phone at Jawan. And I threw the phone.
That was before he saw when I came up. When he saw, I said, right when I came around the corner, he threw the phone at Jawan. So he knew he was doing something wrong.
Right. I didn't know how to react because there was that like miscommunication. And like, now understanding as a parent, I kind of get the understanding of like, he wanted to communicate something to me, but he didn't quite know how to. And he was like, wait, I didn't expect this to happen already, that kind of thing. So I think what I'm getting to is this. As a teenager, did you or have you ever felt like there was this kind of miscommunication kind of growing up? Like, I want to explain this to my parent, but I don't know how to. Judah,
you asking? Who you asking?
I'm gonna ask Judah.
Yeah.
Yes, pretty sure, actually.
He's like,
Question?
this is an uncomfortable situation here.
Right. He's like, my dad's here, my grandma's here, my brother's here. It's so awkward.
Again, JR.
And look, I'm not trying to bust you out or anything, but in the sense of like, do you ever feel like sometimes you want to explain something to dad? Not like you're hiding anything, but you want to explain something to dad, but you don't quite know how to. Or you want to explain something to your mom, but you don't quite know how to. You want to explain something to an adult, but don't quite know how to. Like, do you ever feel like there's that miscommunication?
Yeah.
And it's natural. And it's not in any way to expose the relationships between us, but these are things that different teenagers are going through all the time, to where, man, I want to explain something to mom and dad. I want to tell them I don't quite know how to. And I think that definitely comes with time. And so I think for me, what really strengthened the relationship between me and dad was more than just the video games. I mean, we still play video games. I'm a grown man and we still play video games. And it was more than just the fun stuff. But I think when we like genuinely like took the time out to just spend time with one another is where we got to understand each other. Like, okay, I get how he ticks. And we started to realize we're more like the same person than we realized. And so it's like, okay, I have to learn how to communicate with myself in a way. Even with grandma, I remember I still am kind of like, I'll show up at grandma's house like, hey, do you need anything? Are you okay? I'm like, nope, just came to see how you're doing. Just want to sit here with you. Because I realized like it's more than just what you can do for me or the things that you can do, but you know what I'm saying? It's just about spending that quality and genuine time with each other. Now, as a parent, you guys, and I'm gonna ask Grandma, at what moment, and this might be with any of your kids, if you want to be specific, you can be with Dad. So at what point in time did you realize that your baby boy, John Robert Butcher, was no longer a little kid anymore?
Oh,
What was that moment where you like, wait, he's turning into a little man?
no, it looked like he skipped over that part and he went from one extreme to the other. And I know that's not explained, but I can't go into some of those things.
It was like overnight for you then.
Yeah, yes. He was very different than the other kids. I could see the different changes in the other kids. This one, he was,
Different case, huh?
definitely.
Now, what about you, Dad? Now, I'm gonna be 27 this year. That means Juwan's gonna be 25.
Juwan's 25.
Judah's voice is about as deep as mine. At what moment were you like, my boys aren't little anymore? Even with Heaven is, I'm gonna have to fight some little kids. Like, at what point were you just like, they're not little anymore?
It's kind of like a two-sided answer. I mean, with Juwan, as far as his maturity, Juwan knew things. Like, I looked at him one day and just heard, he always acted like a little kid around me, but then I started noticing stuff that he was doing around his friends and everything else. And I'm like, wow, he's not a little kid anymore, because I'd see how he would respond and act with his friends. And he did that at an earlier age than you did. Then I think probably around, it's funny for you, was like high school. Son, maybe no more. You starting to become a young man. I think it was high school when I noticed it for you. With Judah, it's really weird because he's my baby boy. So in your mind, you always want to keep him a baby boy. And I realized he started growing up the day I woke up and I heard somebody arguing with Papa downstairs. And I thought it was some man in the house. I didn't know who it was. So, I mean, I jumped out of bed. You know how I am. I jumped out of bed and got geared up and was getting ready to go downstairs. And I stopped at the stairs and I hear, and I hear about, and I noticed it was Judah. And I'm like, oh my gosh, my son is, he's not a kid anymore. He's not like a baby anymore. And then just recently too, like he's saying something, this goes back to the question about explaining stuff to your dad. I've always talked to Judah, and I think, the things that I missed out with you guys, I kind of overdo with him, because I hate that I missed out with you guys, and I try to overdo with him and try to compensate. But I always tell him, I'm like, look, you can tell me anything. And I think one of the things that he had difficulty in is, if he had an interest in a young girl, and I'm not saying it was a girlfriend, boyfriend thing, but, talking to young ladies or anything like that, I always told him, share with me, so I'll help you guide your feelings, and Dad's here. And, you tell a young man that, and what is he doing? He's looking at you like, oh yeah, whatever, Dad. So, but then I found out, that there was a young lady in particular that I think, Judah's kind of fond of, and I'm not trying to throw you under the bus.
I thought he was about to name drop. I was like, exclusive.
No. Yeah. But he was kind of fond of, and I remember finding out, and honestly, I really believe the Lord sometimes just lets you know. You start to see things, and he kind of hits you to stuff. And the first thing, when I found out, the first thing that hit me was the day that I found out you was talking on the phone to somebody. It brought that day back to me, and how I reacted, and the wedge that it set for the rest of our relationship, for you to feel open to talk to me. And at that point I said, okay, my son's a young man. You can't deny his feelings, even though I don't know anything yet, because I haven't talked to him yet. So basically I said, let me just go talk to him. And because at that point, I'm not talking to a little kid anymore. So at that point, I realized too, not physically, he's not a little kid, but also he's not a little kid anymore emotionally. He's now a teenager. He's not that baby, my baby. He's still my baby Judah, but he has these emotions and these things that he has to learn how to deal with. And instead of me telling him it's wrong to feel that way, it's let me help you guide your way through it, because you're obviously, if you're having these emotions or if you're seeing these things, then let me help you navigate through them. And that's what told me during that point that my son is actually becoming, he's not a little kid anymore. He's becoming a young man.
Like, I'll never forget, like, when we've had similar situations and for whatever reason, it was always girls. So I remember, I think it was either my junior or senior prom, and I had asked this girl to prom. Ended up being last minute about something. It wasn't Erica. It was like before Erica. And so
I remember.
You remember? And this, watch, guys. Dad goes, "Did you ask her dad?" I'm like, "For what?" Like, I didn't understand. I'm like, "I'm not getting married. I'm taking her to prom." And so I was like, I really don't get it. But shoot, now that I have a daughter, and when the time comes, I better know this little boy. I better know who's taking my daughter to prom. I get it now. But then as a child, I didn't understand. I'm like, I don't understand the importance of this. And so saying all that to say, it seems like we've kind of gotten to like this particular topic, and really we want to make these episodes to help engage you guys at home to do things that you need to do, not only to, you know, just kind of keep from getting bored or to keep you entertained, but to really edify you and the people that are around you. And so I think the point we're getting to here is to making sure that you're opening up the avenues of communication between you and your family, especially between you guys and your parents. And so we didn't display my family to show that we're perfect, but hey, we still have communication issues sometimes, and that's okay. What's important is, are you taking the time out to make sure that you're connecting with your loved ones, that you're connecting and trying your best to understand, you know, your dad, your grandma, your little brother, whoever it may be. But you know what? I think that's it. That's all I got. That's all I got for you guys today. I really appreciate you guys spending your time with me on this Zoom call. Grandma? Yes. I owe you one major. Whatever you need to do once this coronavirus is over. Dad, thanks for tuning in from Israel and talking with us today. Judah, appreciate you as always, little bruh. So that's it. Make sure that you guys subscribe to our YouTube page. Make sure that you follow our church page at the Building Christian Fellowship. Make sure you follow us on Instagram. I don't think my grandma has an Instagram, so you can't follow her on Instagram, so it's all good.
I'm so proud of you, John.
Appreciate you, Grandma.
Thanks, Mom. We're proud of you, too.
I'm talking about JR. And you too, Judah.
All right. You guys have a blessed day. I love you guys.
Love you.
Love you too.
See you later.